So I went to the gun show. I've seen people just walk in there and they pick up a gun. They're just waving the muzzle everywhere. That's bad handling of a weapon. Bad handling of a gun. You don't want to pick it up and point that bad boy at anyone, whether knowingly or unknowingly. You don't want to do that. You gotta keep the muzzle safe, pointed in a safe direction at all times, because no one likes it, especially someone who knows better, like trained guys. If you're trained, the moment you see that, you're uncomfortable. You know this is a rookie. You know this person ain't got no clue what they're doing. They know they just wake up this morning and decided I'm gonna buy a gun, or they decide they're gonna check it out or whatever they do. But it's not a good thing. No one likes it, especially trained people. Your muzzle. Control the muzzle. Once you pick this thing up, you pick up a responsibility. You pick up a gun, you're picking up a huge responsibility. And if you're going to pick it up and say, hey, I'm going to look at it, or I'm going to carry it for protection, or whatever you're going to do with this thing, once you touch it, it's a big responsibility. Part of that responsibility, as a start, is to point this thing in a safe direction every time. Don't just wave it around the room. Don't just pick it up and unconsciously you're checking it out. Yes, you're checking it out. But do you know the status of that weapon? Maybe not. Even if you know that it's empty. There's a saying, empty gun kills. Why? Because you think it's empty. In your mind, it is empty. That's in your head. And with that, the trained guys, the trained people that's watching you handle that gun, in their heads, they're thinking, empty gun kill. But in your head, it's empty. So you're waving it around the room and the muzzle is everywhere. Might be asking, oh, what is he talking about? The muzzle, the business end. Right here where the bullet comes out, this end of it. That should be pointed in a safe direction every time. There's no one behind my camera, so I'm going to point mine in your direction. So that right there. That don't wave it across the room. Don't wave it. I mean, you're checking out the gun, but you still got to keep that. Whether you're gonna point it down, or it's gonna be pointed up, which is a common way of handling your magazine, cocking, and so on and so forth. This is kind of the best way to handle your gun. But if you're not doing that, well, at least, well, like I said, there's no one behind my camera. If you pick this up, moment you pick it up, this finger is your trigger finger. And this trigger finger here does not touch the trigger until you are ready to shoot this gun. Never. Don't do it. Do not do it. This is how this finger stays until you are ready to pull that trigger. So, with your finger running there and the muzzle pointing in a safe direction and not being waved around the room, if you're pointing down, you're controlling that muzzle. You're checking the weapon out, yes, but it's still being pointed in a safe direction. You're checking out the different parts. You look at, you can do that, but it's just bad ethic if you're gonna wave it around the room. It's just bad ethic. No one likes it. I don't. I get really, really far away from people who's got bad ethic with this thing. You pick it up, and if I see you handle it without any muzzle control or trigger finger control, I'm gone. Because I know I'm around someone with poor training and our very little training and poor ethic. So whenever you handle this, be conscious. Whenever you handle this, remember there's someone in the room that knows, and it gives you props if you pick this up and you handle it well in terms of safety. You pick this up, and people watching see you handle it. You keep your muscle under control. They know in their minds, yeah, that's a trained guy. So if you want to look good when you pick one up, if you really want to look good, look like you know what you're doing, control your muzzle. Control your muzzle. So, control your muzzle and don't put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to shoot this thing. Part of controlling your muzzle also is whenever you point this thing at anything, whenever you point this thing at anything, the book says, the safety book says, do not point this thing at anything you're not ready or prepared to destroy. It is true, because this thing destroys things, whether it's flesh, your TV, your fridge, your stove, whatever. It destroys stuff. So you got to try to only point this at something you decide consciously. You decide consciously to destroy. If you're not prepared to destroy whatever you're pointed at, point this thing in a safe direction. Every time. As long as it's possible. Because sometimes it's just kind of hard to point this thing in a safe direction 100%. But if you're pointing this thing in a safe direction and someone can see that you're making the effort to point this thing in a safe direction every time with your finger off the trigger, they know you got some training. So be safe. Be safe. Never pick it up without training. Get as much training as you possibly can get. With this, you never stop training. Never. No matter who you are. No matter who you are, you never stop training. Meaning, not just to train how to shoot this thing accurately, not just to train how to carry it safely, but the laws. The laws on this thing changes constantly. So wherever you live, the one law is not made back in 1990 and all the laws are the same until today. No, they change yearly or 6 months, whatever. It changes. So with that, you got to keep in mind that whenever it changes, you want to be aware of the different changes, because if you're aware of the different changes, you know how to operate. So be safe. Be safe. Point your gun in a safe direction.